Determinant and risk factor analysis of urinary incontinence in adolescent girls and young nulligest women. This is our plan. Background. Urinary incontinence is a common condition in women, also found in teenage girls and young nulligest women. Our objective is to determine urinary incontinence frequency in adolescent girls and young nulligest women. Methodology. This study was carried out in an urban and rural society among school children and nulligest students. It was based on a valid questionnaire that we distributed to teenage students and young nulligest women between 14 and 70 years. This questionnaire included socio-demographic characteristics, some interest clinical data, urinary incontinence predisposing factor, other type of question and additional information. Urinary incontinence diagnosis was made on basis of 6 questions. Question 1 to 6. The first 2 questions, question 1 to 3, was according to the stress urinary incontinence. The last 3 questions, question 4 to 6, was according to the urinary incontinence. Each question had 3 answers, as each answer was marked with 0 or 1 point. The sum of answers odd was a score with values varying from 0 to 6 points. Urinary incontinence was defined by a score of at least 1 point. Stress urinary incontinence was selected for answer to question 1, 2, and 3, with a score of at least 1 point, but a score of 0 point for question 4, 5, and 6. Urinary incontinence was for a score of 0 point for question 1, 2, and 3, with a score of at least 1 point for question 4, 5, and 6. Mixed urinary incontinence was defined by a score differing from 0 for both questions 1, 2, and 3 for question 4, 5, and 6. After collection of data, an initial quality control was done to study the reliability of the data. A second control was done to study the validity of the result. The data processing was carried out in several stages: manual examination, data entry, purification, encoding in Excel 2010, and analysis were performed on SPSS for Windows version 22.0. Descriptive analysis were the mean and standard deviation for Gaussian distributed qualitative data and relative and absolute proportion for categorical or qualitative data. Person plus score test or exact file, as the case may be, was carried out to compare the percentage and the student test to compare the mean. Urinary incontinence associated factors were investigated by logistic regression test with odd ratio calculation to determine the association degree. We got approval of local ethics committee. Our result: we collected 1,002 files. The average age of interview was 19.8. 25% of the sample had urinary incontinence. The rate of urinary incontinence subtypes was 19.6% for huge urinary incontinence, 8.5% for mixed urinary incontinence, 7.5% for stress urinary incontinence. In multivariate analysis, age between 14 and 70, odd ratio 2.26 and P0.012, overweight, odd ratio 2.59, P0.004, obesity, odd ratio 5, P less than 0.001, anxiety, odd ratio 3.35, P0.01, and urinary tract infection, odd ratio 5, P less than 0.001, were the factors independently associated with urinary incontinence. Interpretation of this result. Logistic regression demonstrated urinary incontinence associated factor as age between 14 and 70 years old, obesity, overweight, anxiety, and urinary tract infection are respectively 2.26-fold, 5.09-fold, 3.35-fold, 5.44-fold associated with urinary incontinence compared with young girls without all these factors. Conclusion: in a sample of young nulligest women, urinary incontinence was common and associated with risk factors such as anxiety, urinary tract infection, overweight, obesity, age between 14 and 17. But a prevention program can be offered to women because of their young age. More research are needed to better assess the prevalence of urinary incontinence and risk factor in young nulligest women. Thank you.